What's going on, y'all? I think that I had some issues, but I'm back. Thank you for joining Talks with Tay. Now, listen, this is the show where I'm like showing you how to get to the monies. Bring bringing on business owners, putting awareness out there, and I ain't gonna let nothing stop me. Just like it just try to stop me now from showing what I need to show. So again, I got two special guests that I will be having on today. We're about to bring mental awareness. We're about to hear a story. It's about to be so impactful. So make sure you got your seatbelt on and you ready. And again, don't forget, I have an upcoming event, Women's Empowerment, this Friday at Keita D's in Spring Lake, North Carolina. I am a panelist. It starts at 11 o'clock. Go ahead and get your tickets now. I'm going to go ahead and bring, oh, y'all here. Y'all here. Y'all here. Y'all here. Y'all here. Let me go ahead and bring my guest on, Miss Carmen Davis and Miss
Hall.
Carmen Davis Hall and Miss
Hello.
Rosanna. What's going on, y'all? What's going on? Y'all see how it works when stuff trying to stop me from shining, baby? You never gonna
Okay.
stop my
It's
shine.
all good.
It's
Hello.
It's all
fine.
good.
No.
Yeah, so I'm so excited to have y'all on here with me today. We about to get the mental awareness out there because that is very important. And so let me say, we was at the awakening. We was at the awakening, child. Is your mental together right now?
Mm.
Absolutely.
Let's talk
Absolutely.
about it. Let's talk about it, y'all. I'm wearing my girl hold my hand shirt. Let's talk about it.
Yes.
I had such an amazing time. First of all, it was my very first one in person. Of course, I did a virtual, but in person, virtual is nothing like in person. In person, you really get to see all the sisters that you talked to over the last year. People that you lived with, and even though I seen your face, I still didn't get a hug. And so just being in person, it was just seeing the people. For me, that was one thing. But the best thing, I got my breakthrough. I got what I came there for.
Yes.
Yes.
That part.
That
I
part.
got exactly what I came for. I came, of course, I wanted to network. Of course, I wanted to meet people, but I was going through something um, physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially. I was going through some things, and not that I was suffering in silence, but it was not too bad that I felt like I had to, tell anybody. I wanted to get in that place and in that space. And the whole atmosphere did it for me. Jamal Bryant.
Yes, honey.
Let's just say I will
Woo.
never look at popcorn the same. Ever.
Okay.
And I'm a
Okay.
popcorn eater. I eat popcorn every night.
Mm.
The skinny popcorn. I
Mm-hmm.
will never, ever, ever see popcorn the same.
Mm.
Yes, Rosanna. Now you got to tell me your experience. Let me give a shout out to Girl Hold My Hand.
Yes,
Yes.
Go
yes.
ahead and
Coach
sing it, Carmen.
Stormy Wellington.
Go ahead and sing it. Girl, hold my
Hand, girl, hold my hand.
Mm.
Hello.
Yeah.
So Rosanna, let me
Yes.
know what was you feeling, sis? Because you was in the cut, and I was like, Rosanna, is that you, baby? You gonna be on my podcast this week, child? And you was like, oh
I was
yeah.
definitely in the cut, but I was there to listen and learn. And I had to say, I bought my ticket at on Friday at like 3:55, and I took a flight from New Jersey, and I got at 5:55, right?
Really?
Yes. So it was like a last minute thing. I spoke to my mom. She told me about myself, okay, in a mom way. And
Okay.
she was like, you just, if you believe that you're supposed to be there, then you're gonna have to go. And I was
Wow.
like, you know what? I gotta go. I gotta do it. I just gotta go, and I just took the plane and I was out. I was out. Um,
Wow.
yeah. So for me, I feel like every speaker kind of touched on different things that I definitely relate to. But I would say the one of the best moments for me was that last moment, that yes, that energy in the room. I felt it like
Oh
in
my.
every cell of my body. I
Come on.
right? And I felt I mean, talking about it right now, I almost feel the same way. You know,
Don't
Yes.
you?
moment. That was a pivot because we were all in alignment, right? It's like we all came here for something, and whatever we needed to release was releasing, and whatever we need to get, we got, right? And
Right.
that was
And if you didn't, shame on you.
okay.
So listen, yesterday I was very exhausted. I'll make this quick. I was very exhausted. But today I woke up and I remembered where the hell I was just at. Excuse my language, baby. And I felt the power. I felt the spirit. I felt everything come over me. And my voice even changed today. My voice even changed today. I was talking to people and they're like, I can hear something in your voice.
Mm.
And I said, baby, you need to join Girl Hold My Hand community and get what I'm getting. Because if you get what I'm getting, your voice will change too. Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
I know you want to get in this subject, but can I just say one more thing?
Go ahead.
For anybody out there who might not know, it is not a religious group because it's every type. You can find Muslims, Christians, Buddhists, whoever. Like we don't, it's a no judgment zone. It's not a religious group. It's a group of empowerment for women, and you can come in there and get what you want. Right?
Exactly.
It's not single, and also men have joined the group.
Yes.
Yep.
We all have an affiliate link. Am I correct? So if y'all want
That's
to know more
right.
information about Girl Hold My Hand, you can ask either one of us. We all have a link, and you can feel free to join tonight if you would like. Anyway, I just
Hello.
wanted to say that real quick
That's right. That's right. That's
because people
right.
think it's a religious group and it's not.
No.
Exactly. You got that right. And we got a great coach. Get in where you fit in, baby. Because if you maybe you still sleep. When you wake up, you'll realize. But anyways, so
Yes.
we talking about mental awareness, Carmen. We're gonna start you off, Carmen. So
Okay.
Carmen, who are you? What do you do? And let us know your story, boo.
Okay. So my name is Carmen Davis Hall, and I'm from New Jersey as well, Rosa. We'll talk about that later so we can meet up.
Mhm.
I am a playwright. I have a play right now traveling around the world. I'm confessing around the world. I've been to 4 states so far. And basically, the play is called Sister, Sister, Oh, My Sister. And it's written about my life. You actually came to the show, and we're talking about mental health. And so I can honestly say that this production came from experiences that I had going through my mental health, getting help, but recognizing that I had mental health issues. Because what's so sad about mental health is a lot of people are walking around with mental health issues and don't even realize it, as I.
That's right.
So, by me, I actually looked up what are signs of mental health, and I have a lot of them. We're talking about weight gain. We're talking about depression. Now, we're talking about anxiety. I don't have anxiety where I'm frantic, who, what, when, where, how, but, and I don't know if you ladies have experienced, when I'm multi-talented. So not only am I a playwright, I'm a ghostwriter. I write books for people, but I also do hair. I've been doing hair for 40 years. So I'm multiple talent. I also, do home decorating. So I decorate people homes. So I have a lot going on. And sometimes when you multi-gifted and multi-talented like that, you don't know where to go first. So that anxiety start kicking in and you wind up not doing. Have you ever did a day where you had so much to do and because it got so, you got so boggled down, you wind up not doing anything. And so
Yes.
I realized that's an issue. That's a part of mental health. I had to find out and realize where did it extend from. And at this time, I really don't want to talk about my mom because my mom right now is in hospice. I'm fighting for her life, but knowing that that is where some of my mental health issues came from. My mother had mental health issues, and so ancestral curses. When you don't know a thing, you don't know a thing. I grew up in 8 foster homes. I only lived with my mother 3 years out of my life that I can remember, and so I went from foster home to foster home. Trauma, mental health. I had a lot of trauma in my life, but a lot of people say I don't act like what I've been through. I've been molested. I've been raped. I've been in 8 foster homes. And I don't want to tell too much because y'all got to get my book. My book is getting ready to come
Okay.
out. And so you're going to read the book. But I just wanted to say where I realized and I didn't realize until recently that I had mental health issues. I can go back to my 12th grade. I was in the top 10% of my class, but I had behavior problems. The kids used to tease me. At least I lived with my mother. So, naturally, I want to fight you. And I used to always want to fight. Every day I wanted to fight somebody. I stayed in, I think it was 116, which was the principal office. And so that was a part of my mental health behavior, because I wasn't with my mother, because I was in all these different homes, because men touched me in homes and touched me in places that they shouldn't have. I was touched by a woman at the age of 5. And so I go into the stories in the book, so you really get a real deal of who I am. And so, mental health, I didn't realize it until my 12th grade year. They threatened me that I wasn't going to graduate because I got suspended too many times. And I said, well, if I don't graduate, nobody's graduating. And they said, how do you figure that? I said, because I'm going to burn down the stage. Meaning that I wasn't going to kill the people. I was going to burn down the stage so nobody could walk across. And of course, they made me go see a psychiatrist. And that's where the help, you figure, that being grown up in 8 foster homes, there should have been some counseling for me. There should have been, I should have been saw a psychiatrist, but because, I appeared to be normal besides the behavior problem, I never did. And so once I told them that I was going to burn down the stage, that nobody was going to graduate, they made me see a psychiatrist. I never forget his name. His name was Scuddy McGee, and he's gone on to glory now. But I remember the first day I walked in his office, and he said, wow, Carmen Davis at the time. He said, I had 3 Carmen Davises, and none of y'all the same. And I looked at him and said, duh. We have the same name, but we different people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so from then, he and I got along really well. And at the end of my counseling session, he said I was fine.
So let me ask you a question, Carmen.
Mm-hmm.
So when you realized this in 12th grade, and so did your mental get worse or did it lighten?
So, like I said, once I went, when they sent me there, and the social worker said it seemed like there's some mental health issues because it runs in her family line. Once I saw, the psychiatrist, he was like, she's fine. I would not diagnose her as, having, I guess that maybe psychiatric, but he said she suffers from trauma. And so once I began and I turned 18, I felt like so many years I used the excuse that I grew up in foster homes. Like I said, I grew up in 8 foster homes, and I actually went to college from a foster home. Some were good, some were bad, some was terrible. But I made it through. And once I realized that I could have been diagnosed as crazy or cray-cray, I said, no more. I'm 18. I'm taking on my responsibility. And I started making a conscious decision to change my behavior. And that came from just practicing to be better.
Right. Right.
So, yeah.
So the thing about, I haven't had a lot of mental health issues, but I think for me, the worst was when I had postpartum.
Okay.
And that caused I said, I'll never want to be in a place like that again in my life. Because that was the worst out of all the kids I ever had, the kids I've had. My last one did it for me. Mm-hmm. And it's very serious when it's dealing with mental health. You have to tread lightly with people who have mental health issues. You got to start understanding people. People need support, and in a long stance, some things I'm ashamed of when I had a mental issue, but it was not really my control. I just don't never want to be back in that place in my life.
Absolutely.
And so did you overcome majority of your mental issues?
I believe so. It's something though that you always have to be aware of. You have to remember with foster homes came abandonment issues. Abandonment, not feeling love, this, that, and the other. So sometimes when things happen, it can easily bounce back into your adulthood if you allow it. Right. Something, the first thing that happened, it can trigger that abandonment. If somebody, when I used to break up with guys or guys used to leave me, it caused abandonment issues again. However, I have learned to overcome them. I'm a Christian. I'm saved, and I love the Lord with all my heart. And because I know the Word of God, now I have the Word to apply it to my life. And so, for me, being a Christian, and that don't count for everyone else, it taught me to learn the Word of God, to apply it to my life, to apply it to situations. And so, when I go through things like that, I immediately I get the Word. I start reading the Word. I get into my meditation. Shout out to Girl Hold My Hand again. Thanking God for every day for the meditation, because even though this is deep, I'm an elder at my church, right? I'm a Christian, right? I confess Christ and I know the Word of God. But it was the Girl Hold My Hand meditation that gave me more discipline. So now that I'm on there 8 o'clock every morning, I'm reading my Word right before meditation. I'm reading my Word.
So
Then
you
I'm on
get ready to
meditation.
listen.
Right. And then right after meditation, I'm back in my Word. So it gave me more discipline. And so keeping the Word, staying filled with the Word. The Bible says, study, show yourself approved unto God, that a workman needed not to be ashamed, to rightly divide the word of truth, meaning that you have to study for yourself. You cannot believe everything somebody tell you. Pick up the book and read it yourself. Yes, and apply it to your own life. But I'm gonna
So
stay on because I
Carmen,
want to hear Roseanne.
okay, so before we listen, get to Rosanna, go ahead and tell people what you got going on, where to find you, all that type of jig, baby.
Awesome. So on Instagram, I'm Carm the Playwright. I am a playwright. Like I said, I have a play. Right now, we're on our way to Charlotte, North Carolina. If you're on here and you're in North Carolina, Charlotte, or near Charlotte, we will be performing on the 19th of October. I'll be there to the 21st. Also, I manifested and I said that I will always be this famous playwright and that I'm going to be on Off Broadway. Well, you can catch me on Off Broadway on December the 14th, 16th, and the 17th, debuting Sister, oh my sister. I am in
Yes.
I'm in a competition. And so shout out to my pastor that told me to get back up and do it. And then I just laid there still. But shout out to Coach Stormy Wellington for saying, take that one thing. You're trying to do too much, but take that one thing that you know that's going to work for you and work it. And I got up out my bed that day when I heard her voice say it. Wow. I put my play together in 2 months and I had an audience of over 600 people. So shout out to Bishop Tolbert Blacknall and Coach Stormy Wellington.
And I want to give a shout out to my viewers right now. They in the comments, y'all. They in the comments. Roman saying I'm manifesting a Diamond Elite ticket for the Awakening next year.
Yeah.
Hey y'all. Thank you for the support.
I'm manifesting too.
Yes.
So we got Miss Rosanna. Now, Rosanna, who are you and where you came from? Where you come from?
So my name is Rosanna Lamontine. I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of New Jersey. I'm also a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor as well. I've been a therapist for 20 years, and I specialize in trauma-focused treatment for women. Okay, I do treatment too, but my specialty is women. So there was a lot of things that both of you said that resonated. One of the things, Carmen, that you mentioned was like not knowing the symptoms of mental health. And I feel like, how are you going to know generational trauma, right? When that in a lot of communities and a lot of households, there's a normalcy to that, right? So there's a normalcy to what we see, right? Because that's what we know from our communities and our families. So a lot of times we can't, we don't even know what mental health looks like unless it's something extreme. Right. So I think part of it, the getting the word out on mental health, is people understanding what the symptoms are. And then Taylor, you mentioned earlier, like when you had with the postpartum, right, that embarrassment. And I feel like sometimes like people don't talk, right? People don't talk about it because of that embarrassment. And because we don't talk about it, we don't know, like the same thing you were struggling with, someone else could have been struggling with, right? But because we're all quiet about it, we don't know. And that's part of the stigma of mental health, that we need to have more conversations. We need to remove the negativity of it, and start to normalize the conversation.
Right.
I like that.
That's so true. I really believe that's true. And the more and more that I work, doing the inner work, I'm learning more and more what not to and what triggers and what not triggers. In calmness is power. Right, all this mastery. Seriously. Because some things will really tick you off where it do put you back to a place like Carmen said.
Yes.
And so on your day-to-day, Rosanna, first of all, how long you been doing it?
I've been a mental health therapist for 20 years.
Wow.
Wow.
Awesome.
That's what's up. And so your day to day, you just seen it all. So let me ask you this: so you working with clients that has mental, issues or whatever the case may be, drug, alcohol,
Mm-hmm.
it all plays together.
Mm-hmm.
Does sometimes it like, how can I say this? Have you had mental issues before? And does those clients maybe trigger you or put you in a place like from them having that type of illness? Because you know how sometimes people they they're being around you can bring you down, or being around you could put you in a certain type of place. Do that happen to you?
I would say that aspect, no, because like part of like training, most counselors don't get this type of training, but because I do a whole a whole lot of different things. But one of the type of tribal therapies that I specialize in, I do not do that any longer. Was I was a certified sexual reactive therapist, right? So people that offended and did crimes, right? We call it my first level crimes like rape, arson, murder, right? I would do therapy for those individuals. And in
Wow.
the training to do that work, we learn to compartmentalize and remove ourselves from the room. Like we would practice like hours of listening to the story and then removing yourself, right? So there's like a technique to be able to do that. So because I had that training, then no. But I think that if I didn't have that training doing the type of work that I do for as long as I did it, I could see how that can definitely affect, someone's, mental health.
Yeah.
That's right. And so like so you never had you so I'm kind of thinking on shows, right? So I used to watch Intervention, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they graduate the program and they become the actual, the person who does the intervention, or
Mhm.
they become the counselor, or whatever the case may be. And
Mhm.
so you being unique, that's obviously something you had a passion about. Is that something you always had a passion about, like that's something you always wanted to do, or did you have past experience where you had those issues?
To be honest, I did. That's not like when I got into being a counselor, I went to college for biology to be like to get into the medical field, right? To be a medical doctor. And my parents, because my parents told me that's what I had to do, right? Uh, I
Your
graduated
parents, so they tell you
early,
something.
major in biology, and you're gonna be a doctor, right? And so I have Caribbean parents. That was it. There was no other option. There's no other profession. That's it. And it had to be a medical doctor. They don't care about any other kind of doctor. So when I went into school, that's what I did. But the classes were so boring to me. There was no passion there at all. And then when I went to the school counselor in college to speak to them, to speak to her about like, I don't like these classes. I don't even want to, do this anymore if this is what I have to do. And she's like, well, why don't you, you seem like a good listener. And people have always told me that my entire life, that I'm a really good listener. It's like, you seem like a really good listener. I took this kind of like aptitude test to see like, what your level of interest is in, and it was in social work and counseling and
Mhm.
profession. So then she was like, why don't you do this? All right, why don't you do what I'm doing right now? She's like, and I was like, it doesn't seem bad. I kind of like this, right? And that's
Right.
how I got into like, to become a counselor.
Oh, that
Um
was awesome.
and I feel. Mhm.
That is awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's awesome. So everybody, so you basically have a passion for helping people,
I do.
obviously.
Hmm. I
Um,
do.
and,
A
and
passion.
so why'd you join Girl on My Hand?
It's so fun. It's 2021. I can remember it like the back of my hand. All right. So 2021, that was like around the time of the pandemic. I had left my the job that I had, which I loved, right? For I would say ethical reasons, right? Because we all had to do something, and I wasn't trying to do that, right? I'll just be honest. I'm a person in my household. We don't do any and believe what you want to believe or whatever, but we don't do any vaccinations, things like that. We live like a very health-based, natural lifestyle. So because of that, I had to leave where I work, because I work in a medical field, right, mental health field. I had to leave where I worked at that time. So I left because I was refusing to participate in something that I don't believe in. And then I end up opening my practice up, right?
Wow.
And then the pandemic happened, right? So I had like
Right.
this nice little office and everything. Then the pandemic happened, and then boom, right? Now I can't see patients in my office. So then I started to do telehealth, and I still do that now, right? But that's how I started with my private practice with telehealth. but at that time, like during that time of leaving the job that I loved, and working with all the patients that I did, I gained weight. I got depressed, right? Because I felt like I wasn't living in my purpose. Because I thought my purpose was like, I thought I really liked to, take care of my kids. I have 3 children. I have a husband, right? So I thought like, being home was the thing for me, right? Like, okay, I'm not mad at it, right? But then I realized I wasn't really living in my purpose. My kids were in school all day. They are older, right? So they're in school all day. My husband's at work, and I'm at home like, la 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 la, right? And my I'm not doing none of that. So one day my husband had a little Kevin Samuels talk with me, like, you ain't doing nothing, you're gaining weight, blah blah blah. I said, okay. So then I gotta do something to get better, right? So I happened to be looking on YouTube, and I saw a video, Earn Your Leisure, this guy named Cash App or whatever his name was. He was interviewing this woman, right? And I didn't have like social media or nothing at that time, right? This was 2 years ago. So he was interviewing this woman, and she was talking about $60 million, and she was looking real sharp or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I got the challenge. I'm into health and wellness. And she's like, and I was like, what's her name? It was like Stormy Wellington. I was like, Google this lady, right? So I Googled her, right? And I went on the Instagram. I had to go through Google to get on Instagram because I didn't even have Instagram. And I went through Google. I saw her Instagram page, and I saw her talking about this challenge called 30-33 that she was doing at that time.
I remember that.
Yep, I remember that.
2021. I remember very clearly because that month I did the challenge, and that's how I joined the business. I ended up joining Total Life Changes. I did the challenge. I lost 20 pounds the first month. By the end of that summer, I lost 40 pounds. Wow. I wasn't depressed anymore. I was feeling myself, right? Yes. I did well with my private practice. I started selling like the health and wellness products, through my own transformation. So that was like, so that's how I came across like Girl Hold My Hand. Because the end of that summer, I think it was that August, she did like, I think a week or 30 days of like free meditation. She did like allow people to use the community for free. Right. So I used it for free that month. And then that September I joined, and then I went to the awakening. That was the first awakening I went to in 2021. So that's how I found about Girl Hold My Hand and, and Stormy Wellington and the awakening and all that. So that was the beginning of, I would say my transformation. It was in my mind because it started in my mind because I knew I had to change. Right. And then from there, I was like, okay, I would say my journey was not really about losing weight. It was about getting healthy. Right. Because I was like, getting healthy in my mind, getting healthy in my body, and getting healthy in my spirit. I knew I wanted more. I knew I had a purpose, and I knew that I wasn't living it. And when I started to get more in alignment with who I knew I could become and started taking action towards that, and then my life started to change.
Right. So the impact of the community, child. It's the impact for me. It's the love and support for me. You hear me? I'm just so grateful to be in a good community, y'all, like that, because y'all, everybody just showed so much love this weekend. Like,
yes.
Oh my gosh. I couldn't stop talking about it, y'all, because it's just like replays in my head over and over and over again. Like,
we get it.
Yeah. So it's the mental, and I agree, like mental awareness, y'all really need to be, what advice would y'all give people that has a family or friend, that has mental issues?
We go first.
Okay. One of the things I would say, I always talk about like support, because I feel like a lot of times people think support is telling people about themselves, right? Or telling them that they need to fix something, or telling them that they're not right, their mental health is not right. And that's not the appropriate way to have the conversation. But I feel like sometimes in our community, we might feel like we need to tell somebody about themselves, right? People not going to be receptive to, oh, you need therapy, right? But people not going to be receptive to hear that, especially if we're coming from a negative place, right? So even like therapy, you say it in a negative way. Is it something bad, or is it something good where I should go get some help and talk to somebody, right? So I feel like, I guess if someone is struggling with mental health and as a friend or family member, I always say, ask the person how you can support them. I think a lot of times people assume like, oh, let me give them advice or tell them about themselves or whatever. Why don't you ask the person, you know what, you seem like whatever, it seem like you may be down or whatever. What can I do to support you? Right? How I can support you. Right. And the person might tell you, I need space, I need time, I need a therapist, or, help me find somebody. You never know what it is that they need, right? Or they might just need a listening ear. I always say, start off with the question of how can I support you? Come from a place of love and kindness and bring normalcy to it, because I feel like people are, oh, you're crazy, right? It's like a negative stigma. So who's going to talk to you after you said that?
Right. Hello.
I would say it starts with coming from a place of love and kindness, right?
Yeah.
Treat people how you want to treat them, and then bringing normalcy to the conversation and not negativity, you
It's,
know, and asking them how you support them. Don't just assume what they need. Ask.
That's
mm,
right. All
I
right,
I
Carmen.
I totally agree with Rosanna said. Showing love and kindness. I get a lot of people that DM me or message me asking for prayer, telling me that they felt like they was going to commit suicide, sharing with me that they, their love story, that somebody just broke up with them, they're devastated. So you get a lot of that. Like she said, act like normalcy, show normalcy. Don't act like what you're going through is devastating, and try to calm the situation so that they feel comfortable to talk to you. And now that I do know that Rosanna specializes in this, I would be more than happy to direct people to you, because you seem like that you're very caring, you seem like you're very passionate for this, and so I definitely will point people and direct them to you. That's one thing that we need to know too. Where do we direct people? Yes, I could pray for them and calm them for a moment. Many times I've helped people by just praying for them, being nice to them, being kind to them. But in reality, they do need medical help.
Mm-hmm.
There are some for facts that I know that need medical help.
Mm-hmm.
Um, do you have, Rosanna, a list or of different places, or what's the proper word to say?
Resources.
Yes, resources that you can send to them. Is it hotline numbers? Is it
Okay.
something that you can share with us on tonight?
Okay, I would say one of the simplest ways and easiest thing to do to remember is 988. So last July 2022, United States created a 988 hotline, right? So that's a mental health resource hotline. So you can call that, whether you're a veteran, an average person, right? Anywhere within the United States, you can use a cell phone, any type of phone. You can chat and you can text, right? You just dial 988. Just how you dial 911, you dial 988. That's the United States Mental Health Resource Hotline. You can call there, they will connect you to a professional. Okay. That so based on, you call there, you tell them like your state, your information, what you're going through, and they will give you the resources within your area for mental health services. That's also the national suicide hotline, prevention hotline. So if someone had thoughts to take their life or plan to take their life or to cause harm to themselves or facility, then they call 988. You definitely call 911 or 988. 988 is connected. It's a national hotline. You call there, you speak to a professional. You can speak to them anonymously as well, and they can assist you. Okay, so that's a national suicide prevention hotline and mental health hotline. Okay.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, I never knew that.
Thank you for that information. Thank you for that information. So, where can they find you, Miss Rosanna?
Okay, so my private practice, I have two private practices. So my private practice, where I do trauma focused therapy for women, is Fourth and Grove Counseling. It's throughout the state of New Jersey. I'm only licensed in New Jersey, so throughout the state of New Jersey, I do it via telehealth, online. That service, so they can visit my website on fourthandgrovecounseling.com. Also, I have another practice that I'm just starting up, and it's related to substance abuse treatment, and that's called N8 treatment, N8 care treatment.
Nice.
Say that again. The
N8 treatment.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, yes, yes. Y'all, I appreciate you guys coming on here with me. Do y'all have any final thoughts for me? Any
Um,
questions, concerns?
what made you choose this topic tonight? I just don't think everything happens coincidentally. What
Um,
what provoked
y'all,
you to
I
have this?
really low key do not choose titles weekly.
Okay.
I choose who comes to me, and when it comes to me, I already know, because I already wanted to talk about mental health, because the postpartum I dealt with.
Okay.
Um, and I dealt with it. I didn't know how to deal with it, but I overcame it. Oh,
Okay.
overcame it. And I didn't overcome it. I didn't go to a counselor. I didn't know. I was out of my mind.
Right.
Um, I didn't know the best way, but I overcame it. And so to me, I think when you have your mental together, your health is well, mental, it all ties together. If your mental ain't right, your finances ain't right. If finances ain't right, your mental ain't right. Hello. You can't seriously. And
Yeah.
so if you don't have it all together, your life can go either way. It can go here,
Mhm,
go here. You know, you can't be on track
mhm.
if you
It's
don't
true.
have your mental together. And
It's
so
true.
I think it's important to have your mental together, even with, if you see, you know, even joining the community, seeing a counselor, seeing somebody, having some support. Counselor is a support
Right.
system because they're professionally, you know, in that profession. Being in the
Right.
community like we're in, we get our mental together because we meditate every morning. We
Yeah.
get in the coaching on how to get yourself focused on what you need to get. That's how you get to the bag. That's how you get your life together. That's how you get your family together. That's how you get your kids together. If you ain't mentally right, nobody else around you gonna be, or they're not gonna want to be around you, or you're gonna go to the streets, or you're gonna go here. It's just so many ways. If your mental is not together, um yeah, it can go. And so I just believe that mental awareness is something that needs to be out there. And y'all two are the perfect candidates to talk about it. And so that's why I wanted you guys here together. You
Mhm,
had a story to tell, and this is your profession. And
mhm.
so I don't know. It's just whatever I'm guided to, that's what I go with. So
Ro-
I, I was going to say something too related to what you were saying, Taylor. Like one
Mhm.
of the things that I see the most throughout the years, is when it's financial issues, relationship issues, right? When people, because I don't know, suicide, like, unalive themselves, right? That's one of the top things that I've seen throughout the years of that led people in that direction, right?
Mhm.
So finance
right.
is really important. When people feel like they're backed against the wall and they don't have anywhere out, right, and any way out, then that's what leads them to the thoughts of not wanting to be here anymore,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Of people, especially like males, but people in general, like when it comes to financial, that's usually where I have seen that in the past, right? Relationships and financial issues have led people, many people that I've worked with, to thoughts of like, to unalive themselves, thoughts of suicide. So I would say there is definitely a really big significance with mental health
Yeah.
and finances. There's that feeling of embarrassment, with men sometimes, like, they're supposed to be the, society wise, they're supposed to be like the breadwinners or
Yes.
have
Yes.
on them and things like that. And that's, usually when they feel backed in the corner, right? And there's an embarrassment, a negative stigma, right? To not being able to take care of yourself, but also
Or
not
your family. Yeah.
health issues and the financial issues. And that's where I've seen that in the past. So there's definitely a significant correlation with finances and stress. That's a really big one that I see often. Um, People struggling with stress because they're not able to, manage their finances or take care of their family or
Yes.
their livelihood, etc. So mental health and finances is a really big thing.
And health.
I like
Mhm,
that.
Yeah.
Roseanne, I like when you said, and I wrote that down and I put a star, let's normalize the conversation.
mhm,
Yes, I think that that is so important. And also, I wanted to state that I didn't realize that my weight gain came from mental health.
mhm,
That's a part of mental health.
mhm.
Um, Eating, what you call it? Eating, like when you stress and you eat, you stress eat, like
Like
basically,
you straight binge eating.
Mhm.
yeah, like you go on a binge eating, and I didn't realize that until my weight got way out of control. I'm gonna actually put up some pictures later to say I am still full figured. I
Mhm.
love who I am today. I'm full figure, but I'm working on it. I'm down 16 pounds. I took Coach Stormy challenge, and I am
Okay.
down 16 pounds, y'all. But
Hello.
even from some pictures that I'm going to put up, you're going to see where I'm 120 pounds down. I did have the surgery. However, they didn't tell you that the surgery is only a temporary fix, and that if you didn't eat properly and if you did not exercise, that you were going to gain it all back.
Is
And
that bariatric?
so
Bariatric surgery?
I did. I
Okay.
did. I
Okay.
had the bariatric surgery and I gained my weight back because they tell you, that you lose weight, but they don't give you all the tools
Mhm.
to to work that weight loss. And so it did give me a start. I am still 80 pounds down than what I was.
Okay.
But I picked 40 pounds back up, and now I'm back down to 80 pounds. So I lost 40 pounds over the season. In this past month, I lost 16 pounds being on the challenge. So I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited. So for those of you out there and you find yourself overeating, check it out. You find yourself having problems sleeping. I was just reading anxiety, feeling depressed, sleep problems, weight loss, or appetite change. All of that has to deal with mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Rosanna, didn't you say something? Didn't you have something about you you help patients with that too? Bariatric or
I do psychological evaluations for people that's having like bariatric surgery. So in order for the insurance to approve for you to have the surgery, right, you have to see like a psychologist or
yes, definitely,
to be evaluated. So I do that, and I do make sure I educate people, right, when they come to me that it's about a healthy lifestyle, right? And I talk to them about how to eat, right? And you're supposed to see the nutritionist too, but I talk about how you eat, how that impacts your mental health, right?
Yes.
The correlation with eating and our emotions. A lot of times, the bariatric patients, a lot of them are trauma. People that have gone through trauma, right, and learn to deal with it through eating, right? Unhealthy
eating. Where was you 4 years ago?
The satisfaction that people get from eating like sweets, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a high, right? But when you think about if you have trauma, if you have depression, if you have anxiety, right, then people tend to eat foods that are comforting, right?
That's right. That's right.
Are filled with sugars and fats and unhealthy things, right, that cause weight gain. So there's definitely a big correlation with how we eat and our mental health, right? So
That's
there's
right.
foods that can help your mental health, and there's foods that are detriment to your mental health as well.
That's right.
So
right.
I talk to like my patients about that.
She has to come on again. We
Yes.
have to do this again because it's it's like I could tell, and you could. I know you see it. Tell it's so much more to talk about. I know
it is. I can feel Rosanna abundance of she has something on her right now, and it's overwhelming me a little bit because I can feel her energy. So we tapped in the same community. I could just feel her, and it's just amazing, and I'm really blessed to have both of y'all come on here with me tonight.
Thank you.
And so y'all got their social medias, Carmen the Playwright and Rosanna. Are you on IG?
Yes, I'm on IG. Everything I'm on is Rosanna Lamontine. So my full name. On Facebook,
Okay.
everything.
Okay. And so y'all need to make sure y'all go follow them. Y'all, they got some good things going. They got some good things going, y'all. And I just want to thank y'all for coming on here. I appreciate you. And we about to head out of here because I got social school with Coach Blaza tonight at 8:00. And so love y'all. Love y'all.
Love
Love
you
y'all.
too.
Love
It's a
y'all. Love y'all.
pleasure meeting you, Rosanna.
Yes. All right, y'all. Have a good night.
Have an amazing night. Good night.
So y'all, thank you for joining and tuning in to Talks with Taay. I had some of my girl hold my hand girls. They are just awesome, and I appreciate them for coming on tonight to talk about this real important discussion about mental health. So make sure y'all go follow them on their social media sites. Make sure y'all, if you haven't yet, y'all need to find Coach Blas. Make sure you tune in to her. She got this big event going on, y'all. She about to show you how to do that content, baby. Coach Blaza, you can find her on IG and Facebook. And also remember, I got a women's empowerment brunch that I will be attending this Friday as a panelist. Make sure you go get your early bird. Well, no, it's not early bird anymore, but get your tickets. If you need more information, you can always hit me up. I still got the tax mentorship going on. I was at 5. I got 4 slots left. Get in where you fit in. The doors is about to close, and that's about to be it, y'all. And so again, I appreciate y'all for coming on tonight, tuning in, the support. Thank you, Rome. Thank you, Lisa. Much love, much love, much love. And y'all have a good night. Peace.